This is me showing off my new hairstyle to all my YouTube friends. Hello people of the world, my name is Miss, and if you follow me over on Twitter or on Instagram, you will know that I have recently cut my hair, as you can see. Also, my background is different because I am currently visiting my aunt and I'm here for a while and I did not want to stop making videos, so I'm going to record from here because I'm a terrible planner and I did not pre-record videos at all. So here I am. I don't know what to do with my hair. I don't really know how it looks, but I hope that it looks cute. Anyway, I'm a writer, I'm a reader, I'm a science fiction and fantasy junkie, so if you're into that kind of stuff, go ahead and hit subscribe. I've been trying to reach 500 subscribers for like a month now, which is not a surprise because I just stopped uploading in September because I didn't feel like it. Anyway, there are a couple of new things on the channel apart from very obviously my hair, but school has started back up again, which means that I will be going from 2 videos per week, which used to be on Tuesdays and Fridays, to 1 video per week, which is gonna be on Wednesday, which is today, which means I'm gonna have to edit this video and put it up as soon as possible. Anyway, I think that is all I have to say. Moving on. Today we are going to be talking about Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This book was so much fun for me to read. Actually in a slump when I picked this book up. It is a YA contemporary romance with a hint of fantasy. As you know, it has quite a bit of fantasy because the love interest is a ghost. He's a spirit. So I was in a slump and I did have a lot of physical copies with me, but I didn't really feel like reading absolutely any of them. Hence, I picked up an audiobook, which just goes on to show that audiobooks is a great way. Like a good audiobook is a great way to get out of a reading slump. And on that note, the audiobook for Cemetery Boys is so good, guys. Like I would 100% recommend. The narrator is amazing, writing is so good, and just listening to it was a great experience. Is this a good angle? I'm not convinced, but this is all you're gonna get. Anywho, let's just get started with the review. For those of you who don't know about Cemetery Boys, this was a September release of this year. It follows the life of Yadriel, who is a trans guy, boy. He's 16 years old. His adventures, or more like his journey of self-acceptance and of getting accepted by his family. So his family is a traditional Latinx family. They have come from a long line of brujos and brujas who have the ability to see the dead and even summon ghosts. Like the magic system or like the folklore aspect of this book is pretty fascinating. I loved it. Anyway, so Yadriel is determined to prove himself. His family is a little, I won't say that they're outright hostile towards him, but there is like microaggression. Just there are certain times when they want to be supportive, but then the things they say is the exact opposite, which just shows that on the surface they're like, yo, we're cool with you. They're actually not. Anyway, I will come to all that a little later. Moving on, so Yadriel, he summons a ghost. His cousin dies under mysterious circumstances, and Yadriel, he wants to prove himself as a brujo. He summons a ghost hoping to find the lost spirit of his cousin. Instead, he ends up summoning Julian. Julian is the local bad boy, and apparently he died under mysterious circumstances too, and now that he's back, he's not gonna leave easily. And Yadriel is kind of stuck with Julian, and Julian wants to find out what exactly happened to him. So they have this little couple-day long adventure, and it is super fun. For me, the best aspects of the story were actually 3 things. Number 1, the characters, and therefore the heart of the story. Number 2 would be the pacing of the story, and number 3 would be, as I mentioned earlier, the folklore and the fantastical aspect of the story. So number 1, characters. I think Yadriel was a really well written character, and his dynamic with Julian was, they were both so adorable and hug worthy. I loved it. I loved their romance. I loved that despite it being over just a couple of days, it still felt like a slow burn, which I think is a talent. I don't think a lot of people can achieve that, because how can you have a slow burn romance in 2 days? But somehow this book not let me feel like this just happened over a couple of days. There was a lot of depth to their relationship and to the way like their dynamics sort of developed, and I really liked that. I really liked Julian's character. I don't know how to. It's just that every time they called each other Yads and Jules, a part of me was just like, the romance was adorable. It was everything that I really liked. Like initially they don't like each other, but then they develop respect for each other, and then that respect turns to like and then love, and I'm here for it. I loved it. I know that a couple of people will be like, oh, but this developed over such a short period of time. No. Just because it is short doesn't mean that the author does not have the skill to pull it off. And that is exactly what happened here. Speaking about the characters and the heart, as I said earlier, Yadriel really goes through such a heart-touching journey. I won't say heartwarming. I mean, it was heartwarming. The way it ended was definitely heartwarming, and there were times like it was a roller coaster ride, right? So like the emotional ups were, you felt so happy, you wanted to cheer for everybody, especially our boy Yadriel, and you wanted him to be so happy. Thing about acceptance, and there's this like line in the book. I listened to an audiobook, so I don't have the lines marked, but there's a line in which Julian goes like, you don't need anybody's permission to be yourself. I think that's a really good line. That's a very deep line. And of course, like this part of the review, I would tell you to go and read or watch an Own Voices reviewer to actually get a better understanding of it. I'm just going to tell you what I took away from it, but always listen to Own Voices reviewers. I just think that this book did such a wonderful job at explaining what acceptance can feel like when it comes to family. When you are not exactly what your family needs you to be, it's not like they will outwardly ever harm you, because that's not what Yadriel's family does. I mean, not all families, of course. Some families do outwardly harm you, but I'm talking about in certain cases. What happens is that especially Yadriel's family, did not outwardly harm him. There were just like little instances of microaggression. They said one thing in which I guess they were trying to show their love, but it just came as a blow to Yadriel and his identity and his beliefs and his personality and everything, and that made me want to scream. These are the emotional lows. Remember that roller coaster I was talking about? So the emotional highs made me love everything that was happening, and the emotional lows made me feel so sad for him, and it made me feel so angry. I mean, how difficult is it to accept someone for who they are? Exactly the question that this book is trying to answer. For some people it is really difficult, and for some people they try to accept it, but it's still a journey for them. I don't think at any point is Adriel's family sort of portrayed as bad people. The author deals with the entire situation with such nuance, and that is probably why the emotional impact felt so much more, because of the nuance, not because somebody was straight up bad and somebody was straight up good and it was good versus evil, but because there was so much nuance, and because this is what happens when acceptance is a question within like family or within people you trust, because there is a lot of love, but it's still a journey, and it's a long journey, and it requires a lot of guts and a lot of patience to pull through. Honestly, I have no idea how well I was able to explain myself, but here you are. There's just a different kind of feel and different kind of nuance when it comes to writers writing about their own experiences. Both Yadriel and Julian felt like such fleshed out characters because of the heart and soul that had been put into them by the author. And of course, there are other characters such as Maritza. I really liked Maritza. Part of me wishes that she just had a little more to do in the plot. I mean, there were times when she completely disappeared, which I understand. See, I understand why it happened. I also think that she had an arc. She did kind of have an arc. I just think that her character could be a little bit more, because her character was so good. I felt like most of the time she was there to service Yeah, Dria, I just wish that we had a little bit more from her. That is it, just like a little bit more. Moving on to the pacing, the book's pacing was absolutely flawless. And even when it comes to an audiobook, it takes me around 4 to 5 days to finish a book. I finished this book in 2 days because the book was so well paced, it just completely flew by for me. I love a book that I can just binge and I can just finish. And number 3 would be the fantastical elements, as I already spoke about it. I really like the world that had been built, with the spirits and with the rituals that were involved. I really liked how it was incorporated so seamlessly into the story. It was extremely immersive, the writing was extremely immersive and really fun to read. I think Aiden Thomas managed to mix traditional with modern really well. So at times you felt like you were transported into this like really traditional kind of world. And I really liked reading about the cultural aspect. Then there were modern aspects like the school and just the modern stuff. Like, this was a brilliant blend, and at no point did I feel like, okay, whatever is written is pulling me out of the experience. In fact, it was really immersive, it was really fun to read, and I would 100% recommend once again. Were there any things that I did not like? As I mentioned earlier, I wish Maritza was there a little bit more. I mean, there were times when she just completely was dropped out of the story. It's not really a con, it's just like a pro which I would have liked to see more of, that's all. When it came to plot, I did think that the ending, I was expecting a little bit more from the ending. It was a little bit predictable. It did not ruin the experience for me, but like, I knew the twist. I knew what the twist was before it came. I wish there was a red herring, because there really wasn't a red herring. This book has like an element of mystery to it, and when it comes to mystery writing, even if it's like the most basic kind of mystery, I do like it when there is like, it's not this easy for me to guess. And because it was so easy for me to guess, everything that happened afterwards, it wasn't bad. It was well written for sure, but I just felt like, just a little bit more. I could have liked a little bit more. Yeah, this book was such a fun, such an immersive, such a heart-touching, in places heart-wrenching read, because some places nearly damn broke my heart. I don't really tear up in books, especially in audiobooks, but I did tear up in Act 3 of this book, because it was that beautiful. So yeah, these were my thoughts on Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. If you like this video, go ahead, give it a like. Subscribe to my channel, go follow me on Instagram, go follow me on Twitter, go follow me on my blog. Let me know in the comments below if you already read it. Let me know if you haven't read it, if you plan on reading it. I'm probably saying it for the 100th time, I would definitely recommend this book to you. I wish I had a physical copy, because I've started to annotate, and I would love to annotate this book because it was that good and it means so much to me. I can only imagine how much it means to like the trans community, to the LGBTQ+ community. So anyway, see you next week. Bye.